Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we have somebody joining us.
Here we go. Yes, okay, it's working. Great.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you guys going?
Good. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest. As you can see, his name is Anselm Plummer, better known as Kumander Daot. we are
two guys from two worlds. This is the FlipSide. New episodes is uploaded on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify every week on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Now, your hosts, Jay and Noel.
Oh, hold on. Good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, April the 6th at 7 a.m. here in the U.S. and Noel is actually in the same day as me. What do you do there? How did we do that? And he's in the Philippines.
I only do this for special occasions.
It's one of the rare moments that we're actually recording in the same day. Can you believe that? Well, this is actually like Noel said, kind of like a special occasion for us because we have a guest today, don't we? Yeah?
Yeah.
We are just waiting for that person to get in. And this person is has been in the YouTube world for what? 3 or 4 years now, maybe?
Only.
Only. Actually. Yes.
Only.
And
yeah, that's the thing that I'm trying to wrap my head around.
3 to 4 years only, and he has built quite the cult following. It's quite impressive, you know.
And when you say cult following, I'm speaking in terms of myself also. It's quite loyal following, I think is the word. Because there's like something negative when you say cult.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, the loyal following, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
You can cut this out, but while we're waiting, should I do a quick room tour of my new background?
Yeah, go ahead. We're not gonna cut this out. I don't know if you guys noticed, Noel's background looks amazing.
So I moved from the wall behind me to the rest of the office behind me, and I just wanted to highlight the fact that that is the red light district. That's a dog with the red bicycle light hung on top of his doghouse.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's the red light that you clip onto the seat of the back of the bicycle. So he's alive.
Oh, the flashing light thing in the back.
Yeah, and he's alive. He's just dramatic right now because he got a haircut, so he doesn't want to get up. We took him out, did his thing, back in the room now, but he's just being, dramatic.
You do realize that if you all of a sudden take that, people might ask, "What'd you do to the dog?"
What did I do to the dog?
If all of a sudden the red light district is gone, people might ask, "What'd you do with the dog, man?"
Where is he? Oh, his name is Friend, by the way.
What?
His name is Friend. I don't know if I told you that.
Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we have somebody joining us.
Here we go. Yes, okay, it's working. Great.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you guys going?
Good. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest. As you can see, his name is Anselm Plummer, better known as Kumander Daot. We are starstruck that you actually agreed to do this.
Hey, Anselm, my name's Noel. My name's Noel. That's Jason. We are fanboying at you right now. So
we are absolutely fanboying, and we are just absolute fans. Boy, I'm glad to see that you are back home with the family.
I am, yeah.
You have been out and about for what, the past month?
5 weeks it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering with Jason also a while ago. It's like we were talking about how you could just get up, go, and as if you were just going out to 7-Eleven or buying patis.
That's what I do. And
good.
well, actually, at this stage, it is like that. It's very much of okay. There's my bag. Okay, off we go. It's just
Do you
it probably sounds crazy, but it's what I've been doing for the last couple of years, and so
right,
and
right.
actually, this is how I came to the Philippines. This is just what I did every day. So for me, it's just yeah.
Do you take a lot of planning on where you're going to go or what you're going to do on these adventures that you've been on? Just watching the last few episodes that you've had, you're literally from one place to the other, and it's amazing.
It really, a lot of it depends. I generally have a bit of an idea in my head, but most of the stuff just happens, and that's the beauty of life. Really, is just letting things happen.
Right.
And so I'm losing my frame of mind. Sometimes, yes, I'd arrange some things. So, for example, I just did some stuff in Benguet with the tourist office, and so they were fantastic and showed me places I never would have seen otherwise. So I guess it's somewhere in the middle of both. I do a little bit of planning and a little bit of just let the magic happen.
Did you
Right.
let them know ahead of time that you were on your way there? Did you plan
actually,
that?
they reached out to me and said, "Oh, would this work?" And I said, "Well, I'll be coming down this road from Cabayan Tabaco or whatever it was around the 20th." And they said, "Oh, that works because we'll be there for a meeting as well, so we can accompany you." I said, "Well, that works very, very well." And through doing that, I found many, many things I'd have no idea existed otherwise. Yeah.
Wow, that is
Sweet.
amazing.
It's like they just rolled out the red carpet for you.
It's an honor, honestly. For me, I'm just another guy, so it's
Well-
an honor when someone does
Right,
appreciate and does really help me out like that. It really is.
So your first, at least from my knowledge, your first appearance into the vlogging world was through becoming Filipino, Kyle Kulas Jennerman's vlogs.
Yes. Yeah.
I actually started following you through then. How has vlogging affected your life in the beginning as in comparison to how it is now?
Hold on. I want to give you a little bit of context between Jason and I. And that's a good question, Jay. But just to give a little bit of context, Jay is in the US right now. I'm in the Philippines, so totally different time zones, but we're
Correct.
both Filipinos. But we wanted to reach out with you because, as a sort of a third perspective, in a sense that he's there basically wanting to move back to the Philippines, missing his Filipino, roots. And then I'm here. I grew up with him for high school. That's when we met.
Right.
And we're doing this podcast now, trying to catch up with each other.
Yeah.
And then we're basically throwing back at each other back and forth about the culture here, the culture there, complaining about both cultures. And then you come in, and we're like, that's why we wanted to talk to you mostly, about that culture. But again, with Jason's question,
Right. Like I said, like how has vlogging affected your life back then, like towards the beginning of your videos, and as opposed to now?
Yeah, if we go back to the beginning of it all, the first time I met Kudas was about how many months? Maybe 6 months before the pandemic started. So
Right.
9 months before I really started appearing on his vlogs regularly.
Right.
And back when I met him first, it was, I just started with the fish pond. And so it was, look, that's a difficult business. It's very, very difficult. But I believed, I said to myself, I'll give it a try.
Right.
And I was very, very hands-on, and I put a lot of time and effort into that. And I was very, very hands-on at first, very, very hands-on to the extent that it was my life for quite a while, and especially when lockdown came. That was a very difficult time.
Right.
It was a matter of, well, there was nowhere else I could go. This is where I am. So and then I experienced a lot of failure for various reasons I've gone into before. I don't really want to go back to, but vlogging for me when I first started was something I said, all right, I'll try it. I had no desire to pick up a camera and point it at my own face, to be honest. And after a few videos, I thought, well, what else am I gonna do or talk about? Follow, cover. And for me, it was just kind of, okay, cool. But then after there was one day where really just it clicked in me that there wasn't really, if I kept doing this fish farming, I was just going to, I mean, yeah. So I said, well, why don't I give it a try? Which is when I bought my first camera, my old GoPro.
Right.
It was running at me. And I said, okay, let's give this a go. And then, of course, the final harvest. I mean, that harvest at the end, just before Christmas, that just totally. And I said, and I still remember, well, I've blocked a lot of the memory out, but I still, I know how it was when the next morning, I just, without telling anyone really, just packed my stuff and left.
Right.
And I thought I'd never come back, but I did. Yeah, I thought maybe I'll never come back, but really, I just had to get out of that place because it's, and I've said a bit about this before. It's the places you go to can often affect. I mean, if something's happened to you in a place, it might be a perfectly fine place, but it leaves these energies behind for you. Right. And so whenever I went back for a while, it was that, and so I just started focusing on vlogging because it seemed to be something that was, well, I mean, I don't even look at it working in a business sense. I look at it working in a personal sense.
It's working on yourself.
Yeah. And this is great because, I mean, honestly, if we look at it in a business sense, it's not something that makes me rich. It makes me comfortable, yes, but not rich. Right. But that's really beside the point. The whole thing with doing this is actually that I rediscovered the passion that I had when I first came to the Philippines and when I was traveling before, which was when I first came here, I was trying to do photography and I was trying to tell stories that way. And so it just really, it reignited that passion I had before, except I was now several years older and heavier and not quite able to do things like I used to, but in the same way, it's just the passion was there. And so for me, it was just, I said, okay, well, I can just go out and tell. And I think, if anything, I think a lot of people were expecting that I'd just kind of continue the fish pond thing, right? Do a lot of continue that, but I mean, and I tried to, but it's just I came to the realization time right now is not the right time to be doing this, and so I don't lay things to rest unless I really know I just need to lay them to rest altogether. But I said, okay, I need to actually expose my mind to different things now. Right. So if the time comes that I can come back to that, then okay. But my mind's actually in a better place, and I'm actually able to think how to do this in a better way. So yeah, and I said, okay, let's give this a go.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is it
seems like the way. Well, first off, I'm kind of glad that you didn't go back to that whole fishing thing. You know, it's always hard to revisit something that I wouldn't say that it's a failure, but it's something. I don't look at it when I watch those videos while you were doing the fish pond thing. I didn't see it as a failure. I saw it as a huge obstacle that affected you in a more, well, if I was in that position, it would affect me mentally as well. You know, it definitely would. And I noticed that while in one of your videos, you were really having a hard time going back to Catillo. Yeah. But moving on, you mentioned that traveling was part of your early life, especially how you got to the Philippines. And that was what, 7-8 years ago, where you planned to travel the Philippines for like a month and two.
Yeah.
7 or 8 years later, you're still there.
Still here.
That being said, do you consider Philippines as home?
Yes.
Really?
To put it simply, yes. It's a place that has actually grown for me from my old traveling days. And I mean, the reason I'm here is what I saw during those traveling days. It's of course been affected by my experiences in trying to make a life here, yes, but And that's what I actually love about vlogging, is it takes me back to those days, and it makes me realize that at the base of things,
Right.
this is fantastic. It's just that it's very, very difficult to, and it's very difficult to actually make a living here and survive here. That's the truth of it. I mean, guys like you have been overseas because, and I mean, I guess at some point it's out of necessity, and I understand. This is a thing. I understand these things, because for me, for my first 5 years was, I mean, I was dipping into my savings, and that alone, when you watch your bank account just dip, it changes your mindset, and it changes your decision making in such a way that,
it affects the purpose.
Such a way that it makes it difficult for me even now to enjoy things. It makes me different, and I still, it's when I have to realize, wait, no, I can do this. I can do this. I don't have to make this sacrifice. I can actually do it, you know? Yeah.
That's kind of what I wanted to sort of dip my toes into it, given the chance to get to talk to you. First of all, I'm a bit envious, jealous about you being able to just get into this 2-3 years down, and I feel like I'm watching something from the BBC. I guess that should be a compliment, not a critique.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot.
But short of maybe asking, like, what kind of conversations do you have with your fellow other vlogging friends? Do you talk about branding and what kind of content you're going to come up with? Sort of beyond that, but if you could touch on it. When you talk about like what kind of stuff that you're going to feature, fish pond aside, what's like the process or the mental sort of gymnastics that goes on in your head, sort of deciding on what you're going to be doing next? What makes you basically pack up your bags and leave?
Well, that's a good question, because I myself often do struggle to say, okay, where am I going to go now?
Right.
What am I going to do? Because
the context of that,
regularly do.
Sorry, the context of that question is for the rest of us that have been trying to vlog maybe since 2007 when YouTube started, and here we are still trying to sort of struggle, you know,
to figure it out, basically.
To figure it out. And then here you are, you just came in a couple of years ago and you're practically living the life. What mentality, what attitude, what conversation happens to light that fire behind you? And again, like I said, pick up your bags and get going.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of it comes back to what you said earlier, was that for me, packing my bags and going is like going to 7-Eleven. It's, once you have that kind of mentality about it, of just, well, okay, let's go and let's just go and explore. Okay, this is something, because I guess this is especially more so in the West, and we're kind of engineered to think that going out and traveling is, it's a luxury. But for me, of course, it's for those who have the luxury of time, yes, but there's a lot of people who are kind of afraid of doing it. They think, oh, what if this, what if that, what if this, what if the other? Whereas in reality, we have to look at our lives as we need to actually live and achieve something and achieve personal growth. And that's the whole reason I left. And I mean, I left the UK I left the UK with a bit. I went to Australia and worked there for a while. I came with a bit more, and it's but my focus was always on working to live rather than living to work, which is what a lot of us fall into the trap of, unfortunately. And so for me,
I'm guilty of
and
that.
I still struggle with it. I struggled with it for the first year and a half that I did this. I struggled with the concept of, well, this is what I do. This is okay. This is acceptable, because I felt a certain amount of guilt that I was out here doing this while others were struggling. But then I also realized that, wait, I'm also a guy who was struggling. And it's not like when I go out and just travel all the time and do this, it's not like your struggles end. I mean, this is honestly the most hours I put in a week to anything I've ever done in my life.
Wow.
It's the hardest I've ever worked in my life. I don't take many days off. I don't get a lot. I mean, I guess I I do. I work a lot, and it tires me out a lot. Yes, but what I'm doing is something that, and this is how I started to see it. Is I started to think of it as whenever I go out, I should be doing something that helps the world.
Right.
I should be doing something that actually, and for me, it's about helping understand the world. And if I can do that, that for me is reason enough to go out and do this. And then I'm very happy that these days you don't have to work for the BBC to make a career out of this. I'm happy that YouTube's actually very much democratized this and put a value on this knowledge. Sorry, my dogs are playing in the background again. They like to disrupt my live chats as well. They very regularly do this. Yeah.
I mean, it seems like I don't think that I would consider what you're doing. I mean, yes, it's work, but it's more like you said, like in a personal work that just happens to be monetized as well for you to be able to do what you need to do and live by your means.
It's one of those jobs that you don't go and dread every day. It's one of those. Yeah, as you say, it's a personal purpose and passion, and I don't do it for the purpose of getting rich, because if I was doing this for the purpose of getting rich, I would have quit long ago, because it's been a struggle. There have been many months where my spendings have been greater than my incomings. There have been. Then there are months where my income is greater than my spendings. There are months where I have to take on sideline work just to, and but there's a purpose at the end of this, and as long as I'm not bankrupting myself doing it, then for me it's okay.
It seems like after 3 to 4 years of doing what you're doing, it's what 3 to 4 years, maybe 300 and something, or 300 videos later, it's safe to say that you are a success within your own right. Okay, it's definitely safe to say that. It's obvious that you love it, and it's obvious that you put passion into what you're doing. The question is, out of all that, what's the worst thing about it that has happened, or that you hate the most?
I mean, the most difficult thing has got to be seeing my daughter reach her milestones when I'm at the other side of. I mean, I saw the first time she ever walked by herself without assistance.
Yeah.
I saw it through a video with a video screen, which is great because they can be done, but at the same time, I regularly doubt myself as a father, because I say I'm not. And even when I'm here, I mean, I guess there is no manual on it, but I sometimes wonder, okay, what do I do?
Right.
I don't know. It's good. My daughter recognizes me. She knows where I am, and she seems to understand that I'm not. And she has this certain sense of independence about her, which is nice. But at the same, of course, I always will say to myself, well, okay, I'm going out and I'm doing this journey by myself. But I also know I couldn't possibly do what I do with my family there all the time. Right. It's actually it's healthy to have a separation, but at the same time, I'm on the road for weeks at a time, and which for me is okay.
Right.
It's okay to be on it, but there's a lot that's there are sacrifices. Like what I'm trying to say is there are sacrifices that to this, and I certainly don't go out just doolally around living some sort of, as one comment said, living a holiday lifestyle, which I laughed at. Holiday lifestyle is doing what I do without filming and editing any of it. But I always just have to remember that deeper purpose of what I do, which is to actually make a difference in the world.
Right. Yeah, it's a long game. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint that you're gonna win the contest today, but she'll maybe appreciate the videos that you're making down the line when she gets older. But I gotta tell you though, wasn't expecting that kind of an answer from you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Neither have I. To be honest with you, I was not expecting that. That was far more too personal than what I expected.
Yeah, we're all dads here, by the way. But
yeah, I
That
don't know
hit.
how old. Congratulations, by the way, to your daughter Lily.
Thank you.
How
But
old is she now?
about 1.5 years old she is.
One and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a
Mm.
2-year-old, so I know exactly what you mean.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
it's the little things that matters the most, especially when it comes to your child.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
With
Go ahead,
having
Noel.
said that, though, having said that about missing milestones with your daughter, moments with the family in general, maybe with the fish pond also mentioning that when it comes to vulnerability and failures and shortcomings as a dad, in general, like a 30,000-foot view of that specific example, don't you feel sort of vulnerable, or don't you want to like pull yourself back from, why am I sharing my life? Why am I being so open about the stuff that I talk? Doesn't that ever come to your head about like, do I really want to release this video kind of thing? Doesn't it?
Often.
Because a lot of the stuff that you make, and I guess the reason why we follow and appreciate what you do, is because they're not just glitz, glamour, and cinematic videos. They're also very personal videos.
Yep.
Which there's got to be like a push and pull mental gymnastics going on in there. How do you?
Right.
100%. And I have to actually manage. I mean, especially when it comes to my family. The first 2 years, I didn't show my family at all. It's very recent that I actually brought, because I didn't want to overwhelm them and myself too with that kind of,
Yeah. And then a safety issue, privacy. Yeah.
And just with people who of course I've opened up and shared, and whatever I open up and share, people are going to feel like they're a part of, and so I wanted to actually be very careful with how I did that.
Mm-hmm.
And even now I limit that screen time of that, because for me it's my purpose is not to share the life of my family or my own life. My purpose is something deeper, is to actually share kind of the journey side of things and the personal journey, and just to kind of be inspiration to others in their life. So I again, everything I do goes by the first thought I had of what is my actual purpose in doing this. Why am I doing this?
Mm-hmm.
You don't ever feel like that's like big shoes to fill?
Huge,
right? Crazy.
Absolutely huge. Absolutely. And that's, I mean, yeah. It's the same reason I've had people say, "Oh, can you upload more?" And I'm honored they say, but I will burn out. Right. I'll burn out if I up this too much. I will burn out, and that's for me actually keeping certain separations of things, and also keeping enough time to just breathe is, and I mean, I don't stop, but
understanding your certain limits.
At a pace where I do things at a pace where I can keep up, and where I can actually sit back a bit, and where, but I mean, it doesn't change the fact I work many hours a day, but I work at a pace that's sustainable, because if I don't, then good luck.
Yeah. And one of my initial messages to you, and first of all, thank you for bearing with me with all those messages that I sent you. I know I was bugging you, but
that's
I really
all
wanted
good.
it.
No, that's all good.
Yeah. One of the going back to what we were talking about earlier about your first appearances in vlogs and whatnot. I don't know. It may not be a good time to bring it up or anything, or you might not want to talk about it. So please just stop me at any time, okay? That was kind of like, I'll say it. It's a pretty dark time in your time.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest with you, what connected me towards you is, and just to be full transparent here, I don't even know if I've actually told Noel this. One of the reasons why I actually started following you is I just discovered your videos on YouTube at the time of my life, around the same time that you were having that time, where it was very, very dark for me, to a point where I almost checked out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to really have this conversation with you is to say thank you, because through you and what I watched, I kind of took it step at a time.
Mm.
I was literally ready to check out and I wanted to give up. And for some reason, I wouldn't say I found purpose, but I found the start button. And that is that I realized that, hey, there are others out there that are in the same situation.
Yes.
And you,
I'm trying to look for a Kleenex here, but
yeah. and how you got over it, and what, I don't know what you did to push yourself forward from it, but in a sense, watching you do it kind of gave me the push to do it as well. And I thank you for that. From the bottom of my heart, I truly, truly, truly appreciate that. And
and I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying this because, and I've had a few messages like this, and that is exactly why I did it. Because of course, at times I thought, shall I cut this part of this out? Shall I? And then in the end, I said, you know what? I'm just going to say it, because for me to be given that opportunity and to be given that step on the ladder, to get out of the depths I was in, for me, I felt a real personal, I don't know if responsibility is the right word, but we'll go with it, to really share this and to actually use this as a platform that could help others associate with it. And I said to myself, if I travel around this country, which I'm very blessed to do, then the best thing I can do is share that.
right.
And I've always made sure that for me, I have value in what I do. These people make many comments to me about. I've heard many comments of, when you do this, and I say, I just do things in a way that's me, and also in a way that, where I can stay authentic and where I can actually put out the content that I want.
It's not exactly scripted.
Oh no. No.
Right.
yeah, that's what I wanted to touch upon a while ago. Was sort of skirting around it. I didn't want to drop the bomb, but yeah, that's pretty much where we're both coming from, and what we wanted to ask you how to, like I said, pick yourself up and keep going and go. But on that note, though, and I don't want to get away from the topic too far away, but speaking of which, when you're on the road, there's got to be potholes, there's got to be rough patches that you go through also. And I guess we kind of asked it already a while ago, the difficult part, etc. But culturally wise, and that's what the whole trip is all about, and very spiritual trip that you just had to the mountain province. On the flip side, though, is there something negative that you wish the Filipinos had more? And it must have been really crazy to see that bus on the mountain, the red bus on the mountain, being from Europe yourself, but
mad,
crazy. But
yeah,
but on the flip side of that, I mean, that's the nice part about the Philippines is very versatile and genius and happy culture. Is there a negative part of the culture that you don't like? Is there a part of it that you kind of wish that we learned from you, from the West, from Europe, from Wales, or anything that you wish that was different from the culture? And sorry to put you on the spot here, but it's the stuff that we complain about all the time.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Sorry about that.
Okay, all good.
Hopefully that gave you a second to think about your question. Sorry, I know it's sort of a ballsy question to ask, but again, we don't mean to sort of put you on the spot about it, but there's so much that we can learn from you as experiencing the culture from a third perspective, so to speak. There's me here living here, and then there's Jason looking from far away, but you're actually the one on the ground,
and wheels
turning, meeting people.
Yeah, sorry, just to put comfort in that question, it is a ballsy question, to be honest with you. And again, it is kind of putting you in the spot. But honestly, it's a question that I put to myself all the time, and I have expressed on multiple occasions here in the podcast as well. So
Yeah.
anyway,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
I'll preface this by saying that, I mean, culture obviously they develop from multiple sources over many, many years. And so, and actually the things we nitpick about and the things that we want to get rid of, sometimes they come hand in hand with the things we like. And so
Please
I
don't
feel
say
like sometimes these can be difficult, because I know the friendly, hospitable, laid-back manner of people is a blessing and a curse, and that's actually what I'd say about any of my nitpicks. I mean, it comes from something that's both a blessing and a curse.
Right.
So, I mean, I do struggle with. I mean, okay, if you want to get something done, you want people to show up to work sometimes. Okay, but if I insist on that, if we have that kind of stringency, then we lose a lot of the kind of relaxation that we also like.
Right.
I sometimes, I guess, because I've come from somewhere that's not like this, to a difference that I'm used to. I mean, maybe these people have a much better balance of life than we do. That's what I sometimes think. But yeah, in terms of, I mean, my nitpicks, that's my main one, is that sometimes things are convoluted, and that it's difficult to understand what and why and how, and then you ask someone, and that's down there. I mean, and that's of course because I'm from somewhere where communication is very direct, and this is something I've really had to learn. Is okay, this is how it works. This is okay, this and this. And yeah, and yeah, I guess for me, some of it is. I mean, I'm not ever going to change. I'm not ever going to change any of this, but but a lot of the time, there's a lot of kind of accept. Oh, that's how it is. Rather than, I mean, I have an example of it. Yesterday, I drove through a construction area, and some construction equipment that wasn't quite fit away properly clipped my tire and caused a bit of damage. And for me, I should be able to go and say, well, why is that there? Why don't they? But I mean, and many people will say, well, yes, that's how it is, but that's that. Many people will say, well, yes, really, that is their responsibility, but at the same time, no, it's not going to happen. You've just got to deal with it, and that's something that irks me on a regular basis. Of course, is and I understand where it comes from. I really understand where it comes from, and and sometimes I do feel I'm not an assertive person as it is, and sometimes I step back from asserting myself because I feel, oh, is this a faux pas? I mean, it's for me, culture's not easy and it's difficult to navigate, and yeah, I guess.
I think I know exactly what you're saying. And I have a term that Noel makes fun of that kind of describes exactly what you just said. It's the lackadaisy mentality of that a lot of Filipinos have. Lackadaisy meaning being too relaxed and too comfortable, so to speak. You know what I mean? Kind of I wouldn't say lack of urgency, but you know,
it's a kind of doesn't matter kind of thing.
Correct.
That's yes.
And it does make effect.
The most No, that's I think you describe it perfectly. I think you describe it perfectly as it's a very much okay, doesn't matter kind of thing. It's okay, well, okay. It's the same. Okay, we'll deal with that. We'll deal. And I mean, in some ways that's great. In other ways, it's not. It's it all depends on. I mean, I'll say this. The Filipino culture has far fewer flaws than the British culture has. I'll tell you that much.
Thank you. I agree with that.
That's why I'm here.
Right.
and anywhere I go, there's gonna be issues. There's gonna be things that irks me. That's probably the biggest.
Right.
That's
I've had
probably is when you actually do want to need something to get done. The urgency is not. But then I also realize that I can also be a little bit not now, not
Right.
today. We'll do it next time, kind of thing. Which yeah, I get it. I get it. It's yeah, it's what I mean. The thing that really does scare me actually is that I could be operating totally legally, driving a vehicle down a road, and you, God forbid it happens, hit and kill someone. The law cannot apply fault to a dead person. So, and that scares me actually. That does scare me. So there's certain things like that. That kind of thing does scare me a bit. There's things like that. There's there but most of, I mean, but at the same time I know that, and I still go out and drive. So I've got to just there again. We've got to fight our battles sometimes, and
Right.
And for me, I've got to realize that, to be honest, nowhere's perfect, and that I quite enjoy my life here. And so I'd rather not go back to where I was born. I'd rather not do that if I can help it.
You said it quite perfectly though in the La Union episode, the off-road episode that you just had. You're managing the risks. Is really you're just trying to try to get the best shot, but you don't want to put yourself too far in danger. But sometimes you just need to manage that risk.
Sometimes things happen, and sometimes, and that was, I mean, that for me, there's two sides to that. You can either say, well, you just stand back all the way back there. And if I did that on every shot, I'd then end up with many, many mediocre shots, with many, many mediocre shots of stuff really zoomed in without much contrast, probably with people in front with phones in them, this kind of thing. Or I can just take that little, and I mean, that was a freak. I mean, you're not meant to use that technique. You're not meant to jump your car, and certainly when it jumps, it really, the fact it spun in the air was a bit of a surprise to me. So yeah, I mean, there are people who try to avoid the risk altogether.
Right.
And as I said, if you do that, you generally end up with mediocrity, which is okay for some people. Yeah, fine. But I'm not one of these people. I like to actually really try to get the best. And so that's
like
why I said to myself, okay, I said, well, that's there. But I mean, at the same time, I wasn't stirred. I was still able to jump out the way. It's unlikely that, I was still able to. But I mean, we all have a different level of risk aversity. And that's the thing.
Right.
And for me, I'll take the small chance of risk. I won't try to eliminate it altogether, because for me, you don't actually gain anything that way. If you just
you don't.
If I wanted to just eliminate the risk, then I wouldn't be here. I'd be living the boring life that I escaped in the first place. So yeah, we're all going to die one day. So I'd like to say, if I die, I'd like to say I've actually made a difference to the world.
Oh, you definitely have.
Now you got to give us something from that, Anselm. The boring life that you don't want to come back to. Can you give us a little taste of it, like a little idea? I don't want you to go back to a dark place, but is there something that we don't know about that?
The life back in Wales.
Yeah, what is it like?
What makes it so boring? I mean, you're in Wales.
I just saw no future, really. I saw no future and no opportunity and no excitement and no joy to life there. I mean, it seemed to me that once you're at that stage of development, you it's the system or nothing. I think I know what you're saying. There's not really that much room for innovation as such. It's kind of,
you're going to end up living in a routine life.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
And I saw routine life, you end up bogged down, you end up with lots of stuff, but not really.
That's what I'm trying to get away from right now. That's what I'm trying to get away from.
Yeah. Listen, and I'm actually kind of glad that I went off to Australia. I thought it would just be a couple of years when I was 10 years ago it was now, because it just taught me, don't pile up it's not even stuck, but don't tie yourself down too much.
Right.
Be in a position where you can actually get up and take the opportunities. Be in a position where you can get up and go somewhere and do something. I mean, it's not like, I mean, look, I'm a husband and a father, and I can still do this.
Right.
I'm not saying get rid of everything altogether. What I'm saying is, don't use up all of your resources and brain power in one particular place and tying yourself down there in such a way that, well, it might not work out. And so you want to be able to make the most of whatever's out there for you. That for me is very, very important.
But is it safe to say? Is it safe to say now that there is no thought, no possibility whatsoever that you would pick up and uproot Nelly and Lily back to Wales?
There's not 0% chance of anything in life, but
right.
It's not something I desire, and it's not. I mean, I was having this conversation actually the other day where someone was saying, "Oh, they're saying, oh, their families telling them that their children should be in the UK because that's their future," and then they were sharing me the same reason why I left. Really, is that they don't see any future in the UK. They'd rather be in the Philippines, where yes, life might be more difficult. You might not be so on paper wealthy,
right?
But
right.
There's so much more to it. I mean, if having a better future means having a greater ability to be into that system of stability, and I mean, yes, stability can be good. Sometimes I desire a bit of it in my life, but once you get stuck into that system, and once you get stuck into that with no ability to escape,
that's the problem.
I'm not sure it is.
I agree with you. I agree with you 1000%, because to be honest with you, I'm one of those guys. I keep telling this to Noel, and this is the conversation that we keeps having, and he keeps asking me why I desire to move back to the Philippines or anywhere else where I am now, because I'm stuck. I'm stuck in this world in a routine that I don't have the ability to just have a separate outlet all the time, because of the constant thought of the responsibility to keep up with the stability, so to speak, But now I worry, is it too late? I don't know. Who's to say,
Well, you never know. You never know unless you try, really. You never know. And that's why I actually understand it. I understand the dilemma that a lot of people have is, of course, in a world full of risk, there's a risk of failure.
Well, that's the thing. I'm afraid
it's a
now.
Of, do you want to give up? Do you want to give up do you want to give up the ability to do what do you want to give up the excitement, or do you also want to, on the other side, the stability does guarantee you something. It guarantees that. Well, it guarantees
exactly. It guarantees exactly. I mean, the silence itself says it all.
Yeah. There's things to be said for stability and routine, and I get it. But
it guarantees stress. It guarantees stress, headache, and the constant worries. That I can guarantee and clearly say with absolute confidence.
Yes.
But now I'm afraid, is it too late? Is it too late for me, at least? That's how I think.
No, I get that a lot, because in a way I'm glad that I did this when I was at the age I did, because I wasn't actually giving that much up. I was giving up the possibility of something, really. It was that was before I tied myself down. I could just get up and disappear if I wanted to. It was fine. And even myself now, I put some roots down in such a, but I've always been sure to say, if I get up and move, then I don't leave my wife and daughter behind. That doesn't happen. That's my family. Okay. But at the same time, I don't tie, let's say, okay, I don't tie us, the three of us, down in such a way that I feel like we can't go and do something else. That's very important for me. Is that I don't,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Being instead of being locked up in your own prison that you built for yourself.
Yes, and that's why I don't build the prisons of, and I certainly make sure that I never do build prisons of debt, for example. I don't try. I mean, I rent this house because for me, I'd rather rent this house than struggle to, rather with a struggle to afford, home ownership's expensive.
Right.
Rental gets. People tell me that it's wasted money, but let me tell you, I waste a lot more money than what I rent. It's and what I rent gives me a roof over my head that I mean, homes have expenses whether you own them or rent them. That's the thing. So for me, it's just
I followed a lot of going off subject here a bit, but I followed a lot of your interviews as well and read a bunch of articles about some of the interviews that you did. One question that I noticed was really never asked is this: what do you do for fun?
Yeah, let's try to dig ourselves out of this sad hole that we put ourselves in real quick.
Yeah.
It's very serious, and I've forgotten. I'm very bad at what's the word? I'm very bad at explaining what I'm trying to think. But what do I do for fun?
Yeah. What do you do in your spare time? I mean, it seems like all these other interviews that you've had, nobody's really asked what are you doing? What do you do when you're just at home, sitting around, fiddling around with anything?
How do you take a breather?
I play games on my phone, honestly. Yeah.
Do you really?
I play this game called Toy Blast. I love it. I haven't got bored of it. But it's, I mean, the difference between, I mean, I always find, I've thought about this a bit as well, is that when people talk about spare time, it's that what I do gives me a different relationship with spare time, in that when you're doing something from a passion basis, it's kind of a lifestyle that you adopt. I've been speaking with my fellow vloggers about this, is that it's a lifestyle that you take on, and so actually it blurs your free time and your work time do become very, very blurred, in that yes, I spend a lot of time working on stuff, yes, but at the same time my work is not so worky as the traditional go to work, do something you blooming hate for someone else, okay, blah blah blah, okay. But what I'm saying is, in doing my work, I get a lot of relaxation and enjoyment out of it, and a lot of fulfillment as such. I guess from my work, no, a better way to put it would be, from my work, I get the same kind of things out of my work as I would from hobbies in my spare time. Basically, it's the same effect on my brain, really. And so for me, what else do I do? I mean, half the time it's just I do that. I just turn into a vegetable, which is good sometimes. The body needs to. My body sometimes I just overwhelm myself with. I mean, in doing what I do, it's you get very over it. You get very kind of exposed and mentally you take on a lot of stuff, and sometimes just go.
Right.
Nah, I just want to go and do something simple. I don't want to think. I don't want to see or hear anything. No. Right now, I just want to exist. Okay, cool. This is cool. There's something to be said for it. That's for sure. Yeah.
We jumped off on the deep end there, but just to go a little shallower now, can we talk a little bit about your gear, your workflow? How many hours do you edit your videos? How long does it usually take?
Average 8 hours, but
really
shortest is maybe 4 hours if it's something very raw, but on average it's 6 to 10 hours generally, somewhere in that range.
Per episode?
Yeah, per episode. Sometimes they go up to 12 hours, 14. some of them do take a while, but it all depends. But generally, about 8 out, and that's. But I've had these conversations about changing my work, but if I want to change my workflow, it's okay. The thing that holding me up is not my workflow. The thing holding me up is my brain has to stop a few occasionally. And also, I mean, if I was to make my edits 2 hours a night, then my videos just going to change totally, because you cannot possibly edit my kind of video in 2 hours. It's impossible.
Are you like shoot day, whole day shooting, and then the next day whole day editing, and the next day shooting?
That's
Work,
my
shoot, edit.
That's my usual flow, and that's good for balance. Sometimes I did try totally shooting, then edit alone, and that for me is overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I prefer to do shoot edit. Sometimes I can't.
You do everything yourself, right?
Yes, everything.
You're a machine, man. We're here complaining about.
I'm a very, very broken machine. I'll tell you that much. But
we're sitting here complaining about editing an hour and a half show.
A podcast. It's just the beginning and the end that we cut off, then it's done.
Yeah.
And we're complaining about it.
Yeah, it's horrible. We should be ashamed of ourselves.
I should do more podcasty stuff. I'd like that. Yeah, the raw stuff where it's conversation. Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah. I wanted to actually ask you, did you have any concerns about going into this podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, I always do. I never know what I'm going to be asked. What stuff I'm going to have to reveal. But honestly, I don't mind.
Like 1, 2, 3 episodes into it. So Jason asked me about a month ago or 2-3 months ago, dude, you want to do a podcast? I got a microphone. You got a microphone. Let's put the headsets on and start recording. And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And the next thing you know, it says, oh, by the way, I messaged Kumander Daot and he replied, and I think he's going to get. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, why? Number one, we have like 2-3 episodes, maybe 10 episodes up. He doesn't know who we are, and we have like 20 subscribers. Who would dare like take the risk about these two idiots on the microphone and talk to us all of a sudden? No, seriously, it's very therapeutic.
Hey, you know what? In my life, I've taken the risk on many people where I don't know. I've always said to myself that, well, I make sure in anything I do that, okay, well, whatever I do, it's not going to end me. So, okay, it's I can still get up and do something else again. And a few of them have worked, a few of them haven't. So my whole thing in life is just saying, okay, give it a try. Why not? That's my whole thing in life. And if I didn't do it, well, as I said, I just go back to the same kind of routine.
Right. At the risk of
challenging myself,
At the risk of sounding like somebody doing a shameless plug here for our podcast, what do you think so far? I mean, what are your impressions, so to speak, of like, what is your outcome thought of like, oh, I'm a little worried about going into this podcast about these two guys to talk about nothing, and then this one.
To be honest, it seems like you've done a lot more episodes than you say. So all credit to you. This is very professional.
Well, there you go. Noel was very worried about it. We're like, God, we sound like two idiots.
Very, I've been those very, very professional. Honestly, that's
But okay, less about us, but in a more creator kind of question.
Less about us. This is a show about us. I'm just kidding.
Do you have any things that you've learned down the line out of 2-3 years, 200-300 videos having done it? Was there something that you would have told yourself when you were starting, or anyone? Anselm starting his YouTube channel now. What would you say?
The main thing I'd say, and especially I started on a very unnatural high, of course, which is how I started with 100,000 views every video, and then now adjusting to the new normal as such of that's an insane amount of views to start up. Is hey, this journey is like this. You've got to actually realize why you're doing it, otherwise it won't last. And if you're just doing it to get views, money, whatever else, fame, it's not going to work out. because you actually have to have a deeper reason to do it, and you got to. Yeah, as I said, otherwise it won't work out. And I've had this conversation with Brulas. He reminds me of it regularly. If I'm ever having doubts about why I do it, if I'm ever saying to myself, is this really what I'm?
Allow me to just sink our teeth into that just a little bit more. How do you know? How do you? I mean, of course, if you know it for yourself, but how do you make peace with that, sort of, or how do you? Gosh, I don't know how to ask the question, but
what do you mean make peace to it? Like make peace to it sounds like it's going to its demise.
No, because he's saying that you ask yourself if this is really something that you want to do and you're not just doing it for the money. What was your thought process when you asked yourself that?
I'm a person who has a lot of internal struggle, so it's not a new thing to me to question what I'm doing. Should I be? And for me, I've realized that a lot of the time anything that I've ever drawn a line under is because I've said, no, there's no future in this. This isn't what I thought it was when I got into this. This isn't really salvageable. This is not the life I want. This one I say, wait, no, this is kind of a life that's it's a life that I can live this life. This is all right. And then and I also say, no, wait, this is actually worthwhile.
Last question on that. Jay, humor me for a second.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
But with that answer, Anselm, so you jumped in with both feet, maybe head first, you're in it, and you're doing it, you're living the life. You still got to get hate. You still got to get negative comments. What's like? Do you have a favorite one? Anything that we can munch? Anything that we can munch on?
I do have a favorite one. It was which we laugh about many times. I was sent a message once that I'm not sure if I still have it or not, but I think I must still have it. Let me.
If you feel comfortable sharing it with us.
Let me find. Have I still got it? Let me.
Like on one of your videos, somebody commented?
No, this is a private message sent to me.
Private message?
Oh, this is juicy. This is juicy.
I get some. I've got a few. One of them sent me an email and put lots of things in caps lock, and I don't know. Basically, as far as I could see, he was telling me that he didn't understand what I did, and that's as far as I could see. Yeah, but put it in such an amusing way that it seems this blah 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 whatever. It's the. I said, oh yeah, I don't understand what you're saying, blah blah. Then he took something from. I mean, I have a Patreon that I don't really push ever because it was in response to people who voluntarily wanted to send a bit of extra to support my expense, and I appreciate that. But he read it in my description. He said, "Oh, for as little as $5 a month," and he said, his comment in big letters, of course, in an email was, well, your videos are certainly worth about $5 a month.
What?
You're hilarious. The other one that was sent to comment, I just burst out laughing and went, okay, bye. And the other one was, it starts, you, Mr. Daot, you're so untidy. You have dirt under your fingernails. You blah blah blah, and then it continued. I forgot the exact word that it said. Continue. Brush your teeth. Take a bath. Comb your hair. No, please don't. And it said, please be tidy. And then lots of emoticons.
Right.
That message has come. I'm gonna have to find it. I realized I deleted all my screenshots to make space in my phone, which is probably a good thing. I don't want to look at that stuff too much. But that one was hilarious. You, Mr. Daot. That was one of my favorites. And occasionally, but the one I'll tell you this: the one thing I can't stand, and this is where the comments or said to me in real life, this it has, is people who tell you, and this applies to anywhere in the world, is people who tell you, go back to where you came from, or go home, get out of my. And that, for me, that actually, I mean, I feel like punching people in the face when they say that, because it's incredible. I didn't choose where I was born, and some people are born in the wrong place.
Right.
Some people are born in places that are, and okay. So, this is on a country level. How deep do you want to do this? You want to apply this? Go back to the city you came from. Go back. And so, some people are just very. Some people can be insular.
A lot of it stems from jealousy.
Correct. That's it.
Yeah.
It's jealousy. So it's very much, a lot of it's from jealousy.
Mhm.
And so for me, I see this and I just think, oh no. Oh no, are you that close-minded? Yeah. Some of it comes from foreigners. One of them said, oh, I watched this video. I don't like watching your videos anymore. Go back to where you came from. And it was a foreigner. Oh. Yeah.
They got nothing better to do. Nothing better to do.
I'm in my home right now. It's where we live. That one actually does. That one actually, for me, that's below the belt. Is
Right.
Go back to your country is very below the belt. It's very, very below the belt. Unless someone's actually not contributing to the place they are, then, or actually is becoming a burden on a place, then that's different. But to tell someone that on the basis of, oh, you're not from here, wait. No, I'm trying to be a functioning member of this society that I feel much more comfortable in, and so don't do that.
Well,
it's a lot of stuff that we can learn from you too.
I definitely learned quite a lot of stuff from you today, and
I hope that never happens to you in the US, because if it does, then it's embarrassing and very highly offensive.
It's already happened twice in my life, and sadly, sadly, one of those situations came from an actual veteran that served for the U.S. military, and it was rough, but
that's bad. Yeah,
c'est la vie. I mean, we just, unfortunately, as much as we want to react to it, it's best not to do anything. Yeah. Why make it worse?
That's it. I always say, don't. Anyone with that kind of mentality is not worth engaging in conversation, because they're obviously unable to think on such a level that's reasonable. So that's what I always say about that. Yeah.
That's
go ahead.
That's a
Norm.
lesson that I appreciate getting from you. Aside from the fact that I'm talking to you, and of course I'm trying to wrap my head around about the fact that I'm talking to Kumander, Daot, Anselm, the one that I was just talking to on video. I'm asking a question and I'm actually getting an answer.
I'm just a guy. I'm another guy.
I know, but what I appreciate most about it is just, you are we'll share a beer here and there kind of guy. But what I also appreciate about you is that, you're the one, you seem to be the guy that's on your videos. I mean, you didn't like create a character or a caricature of yourself.
There's no facade.
There doesn't seem to be
that's
a facade.
important for me. That's very important for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I think I am also taking from that is that not just the guts or the vulnerability and the authenticity of it, is the fact that you are just I think what we appreciate most is that you're just very generous of it, not sharing the culture, making your videos, but even sharing yourself, sharing. I don't know if that makes any sense.
The genuine feeling coming from it is just amazing, to be honest.
It's inspiring for us. I mean, it's inspiring. It's encouraging for us because, here you are, flaws and all, but still you show up. You said 7:00 and it's 7:00 and you actually did show up.
As opposed to the last time where you actually fell asleep.
Yeah.
I had to bring
I was going to mention it myself.
I had to bring it in. Okay, I had to mention it.
Last time that was oh dear, that was a nightmare. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but this time's been, well, as I said, I've actually had a couple of days of not making content, as I say, which otherwise I get, I mean, I also get caught in that little world sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but I know we're running out of time again. I wanted to say again, this has been absolutely amazing for us, especially for me. We are extremely grateful that you took time out of your day to do this for us.
It's
Thank
an
you
honor
very
for
much.
us.
It's an
I'm
absolute honor.
sure there's a
And
lot of people that want to sit down and talk to you also.
yeah,
But
and to be honest with you,
we'll do it again, huh?
yeah, can we do it again? Maybe not in the near future, but sometime this year, later
Let's
this year,
do
just
it.
to follow
Let's do
up.
it. Let's
Is
do it
next
sometime when
week?
I can. I can't guarantee I won't fall asleep again, but I can. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we hope that you actually enjoyed it. We tried to make it
Oh, I
a
did.
little bit as comfortable as it is, and like not be too showy and like asking, you know. But
Hmm.
uh, if you don't mind, we will definitely plug away on this episode and use you as a, to get more people to actually listen to us. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, that's
Um,
totally fine.
but
I appreciate what you guys are doing, because let me tell you this: the media is gross. Media and anything creative and art in general is grossly undervalued.
thank you for saying that. But
Yeah.
again, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. Again, we are grateful, and regards to your family, to Nelly and Lily. Best
Keep doing
wishes,
what you're doing. Yeah.
and don't stop what you're doing. What you're doing is affecting
Appreciate
people's
that a lot.
lives. It's
Yeah.
I
affecting people's
appreciate it a
lives,
lot.
even to the littlest thing.
If
Thank
ever
you
you
very
think
much.
of if ever you think of quitting or doing something else, please let us know. Okay. Talk to us first before you make any big
Yeah,
decisions. Huh?
don't
Like
just quit like that, okay? Because we'd like to tell you to like stop, get over
yeah.
yourself, and just keep doing what you're doing.
Consult with us first. Okay. We're I
Oh,
know, but
brilliant.
Well, thank you, Mr. Plumber, Commander D. I appreciate it again. And hopefully we'll get to catch up again in the future.
I hope so. I hope we can. Yeah, even if
Thank
it's
you,
not on
sir.
here, just
Thank you, sir.
send me a message anytime. I've appreciated this. Oh yeah,
Thank you. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
all the best. Huh?
Likewise. Have a
thank,
good night. Bye bye.
thank you.
Have a good night. Have a good night.
Bye bye.
You got it.
What the hell just happened?
Wow. I'm gonna put my pants back on.
That
Jeez.
was that's a TMI, man. TMI.
Sorry. What a cool guy, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I that was far oh, that was far better than I expected.
Yeah. Way beyond expectations.
Yeah, what do you
Not that
think, huh?
not that he was supposed to bring us any beer or cake or anything, like a dance number or a song number for us, but the fact that he was just so open and honest, and that his answer about his missing checkpoints, landmarks, milestones of his daughter, that really, I wasn't
Yeah,
expecting that
that
kind of an
wasn't
answer
I
from
didn't
him.
I would not think that he would go that personal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It just goes to show how in touch he is with himself, on how honest he is with himself, and
right,
how he's thought about what he's doing a lot.
right. Um, but yeah, hope you guys enjoy that episode. That will be coming out soon. And I don't know what
That's
to
gonna
say
go
after that.
that's gonna go in the books. That's going to be like, if I made like a printout of the podcast, I'd put it right back there.
Right.
Like Commander
Exactly.
Daot's face would be like right here,
Right.
and then everybody else's faces, like little tiny pictures, would be around. But yeah,
I honestly didn't think he was gonna show up, but I am absolutely grateful for it. You know?
yeah,
Yeah. That's something to simmer down a little bit. But anyway, that was a surprise episode for everybody else there. Um, hope you guys enjoy it. Like, listen, subscribe, whole 9 yards type of thing. That's the first time I've said that, I think. Um,
that's an
thanks for
episode that I'm gonna end up listening to again
yeah.
myself. That's actually something that I'm going to sit down and listen to.
I think I'm gonna do that too. But thank you very much, everybody, and we'll catch you on the next recording. And again, this is the flip side with Jay and Noel. My name is Jay.
My name is Noel.
We'll catch you guys later.
On the flip side.
Peace out. Catch us on the next episode on the flip side with Jay and Noel. New episodes uploaded on Wednesdays and Saturdays.